Ukraine applies for fast-track NATO membership. Retirees may be recalled to serve the government again, and Sarawak hopes for more allocation in Budget 2023. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Muhammad Yusuf, and this is TVS Nightline. We begin with our top story. Following the proclamation of 4 partially occupied Ukrainian regions by Russia, which was described as an annexed Russia land, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said he is formally applying for a fast-track membership with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. Though Kiev is still willing to hold discussions with Moscow over the matter, Zelensky, however, does not want any engagements with Russia's President Vladimir Putin.
Ukraine has and remains the leader of negotiation efforts. It is our country that always proposed to Russia to agree on coexistence on equal, honest, dignified, and fair conditions. Clearly, with this Russian president, it is impossible. He does not know what dignity and honesty are. Therefore, we are ready for a dialogue with Russia, but with another president of Russia.
The announcement of membership by Zelensky will definitely impact Moscow, as they previously described NATO as a hostile military alliance that aims to encroach Moscow's influence. Even so, Zelensky remains committed to the idea of coexisting with Russia on equal, honest, dignified, and fair conditions.
All the territory of our country will be liberated from this enemy, not only of Ukraine, but of life, humanity, law, and truth. Russia knows this already. It feels our strength and sees that here in Ukraine, we prove the strength of our values. This is why it rushes forward by organizing farce to attempt annexation, trying to steal what doesn't belong to it, wants to rewrite history and redraw borders using murder, blackmail, mistreatment, and lies. Ukraine will not allow this.
In order to hasten the process of achieving a developed Sarawak under the Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy 2030, or PCDS 2030, expertise and experience plays a crucial role. Hence, Premier Datuk Patigi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg will call upon retired government servants with high capability to contribute ideas and skills to achieve the PCDS 2030 target.
Kerja kita tu banyak. Sebab dia siapa yang bersara mungkin kena tarik balik. Because of this, siapa yang bersara mungkin kita minta bantu lagi. Umpamanya our mantan SS, saya mintanya balik bantu saya in terms of PCDS implementation. Jadi inilah saya nak sebutkan, mungkin juga ada yang dah bersara ni, you got still ada ideas yang can contribute, dan sama-samalah contribute in other capacity, in different capacity. For instance, education, you have to create awareness among the community. And those who can interact with the community then help us to create that awareness through interaction with the community. Bermakna, selagi kita tu hidup, siap ada pencen. The word pension is not in our vocabulary.
Elaborating further on PCDS 2030, Abang Johari said a team from the Malaysian Institute of Economic Research, MIER, recently had a discussion with him, and both parties have agreed to establish a special task force to monitor the progress of PCDS 2030 implementation.
Number one, they acknowledge our PCDS. It's a very well structured. Kata sidaknya lah, that should be the way. Dan untuk kelakar kita ajaklah. Yang ada, I hope the further leaders will also do the same thing as what we are doing.
Now, assets belonging to the Ministry of Education, MOE, are ready to be used for the 15th general election, GE15, and also during floods. Senior Education Minister Datuk Dr. Razzie Jidin said the ministry has always provided support when it comes to the use of schools either as flood relief or polling centres, a responsibility, he said, that has long been undertaken.
Razzie said the MOE is directly involved during floods by providing assets such as schools to serve as temporary evacuation centres, as well as voting centres during elections. Meanwhile, Razzie has advised schools to refer to the police before issuing any notices related to the attempted kidnapping in schools, adding that it was to avoid creating public anxiety. He added that state education departments and district education offices had been reminded to tell school authorities to consult the police before issuing such notices. Earlier, the Senior Education Minister was asked whether it is appropriate for schools to issue notices on incidents of attempted kidnapping within their premises. This matter is said to have sparked panic among parents, with the situation made worse by the spread of unverified videos on alleged kidnap attempts.
Deputy Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Sri Dr. Sim Kui Hian, hopes there will be an allocation for the state's health sector. The allocation is necessary to further enhance the health facilities available in Sarawak.
Number one, there's a need for us to have upgrades because the equipments are very expensive and we don't want to be left behind in terms of technology. Number two, they also realize that the Sarawak Heart Centre is very unique. It's a well-recognized centre of excellence.
Dr. Sim also said health clinics in the rural areas also need to be upgraded for the benefits of the rural folks. He added that this suggestion was conveyed to the Minister of Health, Khairi Jamaluddin, during his visit to Sarawak recently.
I am so happy that YBKJ traveled with me to go around to see the clinic kesihatan Daif all over in just a parliamentary Simujang only, I mean not even all over Sarawak, but it representing that. And many of the staff quarters, right, I hope that with the budget they announce, right, we are not in the sense that we also want the modern one, like the cancer center, but we also want them to remind them that got a lot of Daif, clinic kesihatan Daif and hospital that need to be upgraded. So, and that has to go parallel. Not just our, we don't want to be a very nice heart center. Then.
The Deputy Premier also expressed his gratitude to the frontliners who are willing to work in the rural areas despite the disadvantages faced. He said this when met by the media after officiating the World Heart Day, Sarawak State Level 2022 at Swinburne University in Kuching on Saturday. On another related matter, Dr. Sim also said that the government plans to have a satellite heart centres to strengthen Sarawak's health autonomy. According to Dr. Sim, heart diseases are no longer confined to urban areas only, such as Sibu, Miri and Bintulu, but also affect rural areas.
So much so much work ahead that we need to do. So I mean, in terms of planning, there's no question that first we plan the heart center, and then we build it out as vertically, and now we probably need to start expanding it horizontally. Horizontally meaning we start a satellite heart center in our other towns. Yeah.
He also said that the size of Sarawak was also a factor in proposing the plan for the satellite heart centres.
And then this is how we do our planning. A similar thing we're planning for our cancer center. Our cancer center first, you build it out as a vertical first, and then so that it's a giant or world-recognized world standard. Then once you got enough expertise, then we can start satellite centers in other towns in Sarawak, because Sarawak, right, is basically the distance is so far. The distance is so far, even though our population is small.
When asked about the progress of the said plan, Dr. Sim replied that it should be doable if all of the Sarawak's members of parliament helped in the fight for Sarawak's health autonomy.
That's why we fight so hard for health autonomy, so that we have better say in our planning. At the moment, health is a federal responsibility. In fact, to fight for health, right, it should be all MP in parliament, because it's like if you got a headache, right, you got to see cardiologist and you said the cardiology no good. But you got a heartache, right, you got to see a neurologist, you said the neurologist no good. You see the wrong doctor. Likewise, and sometimes our people here get so confused. Health is a federal responsibility, and our MP need to help us in Sarawak to champion for it.
On to the next development. Sarawak now has its own unmanned platform. States Premier Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said that an automated offshore platform would save on manpower and thus save on the long-term operational costs.
Number two, which is very important, is this is the first platform unmanned. So this is unmanned platform. I don't know whether it's the first or the second or third, but definitely in Sarawak, I think this is the first unmanned. Maybe lah. The first unmanned platform is what I mean.
Abang Johari said this at the Mechanical Completion of Engineering, Procurement and Construction (EPC) of fixed offshore structure works for Timmy Field Development Project for Shell Sarawak Berhad at Brook Dockyard and Engineering Works Corporation on Saturday. Additionally, he said the Timmy field is also the first in the region to utilize green hybrid energy, which harness both solar and wind energy.
This is a new technology altogether because the velocity of wind in the sea, of course, as you know, better than on land. So if you had that velocity and there is an improvement in the technology, even the smooth slight movement of that so-called propeller, with the right turbine, I think they can produce energy.
The Timmy substructure is jointly owned by Sarawak Shell Berhad, Petronas Carigali Senjuan Berhad, and Brunei Energy Exploration. The substructure will later be transported and installed at the Timmy field about 200 kilometers off the coast of Sarawak. Spanning 150 meters, the Timmy substructure was completed in 9 months with a total tonnage of 3,222 metric tons.
The Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department, or Bomba Sarawak, are fully prepared to face the northeast monsoon season, which is expected to occur from November to March of 2023. Datuk Khairuddin Rahman, Bomba Sarawak's chairman, said if necessary, more assets will be deployed to cater to any relief efforts in the event of incidences of life-threatening situations. Currently, a total of 60 boats are on standby at 38 bomba stations across Sarawak.
Keseluruhan seluruh negeri Sarawak kita menjalankan latihan ujian bot dan pengendalian bot serta kajian kawasan dan untuk memastikan bahawa kesiapsiagaan bot kita, pengendali bot dan juga pegawai-pegawai yang bertanggungjawab bagi kawasan jagaan masing-masing tahu. Dan juga hari ini pihak PBS Bakor dan begitu juga PBS yang berada di beberapa lokasi, contohnya di Bintulu, di Sibu, berkolaborasi dengan Jabatan Bomba untuk memastikan bahawa aset air yang dimiliki oleh Jabatan Bomba dan oleh rakan kita terutama PBS Bomba Community boleh bertindak memberi bantuan sekiranya berlakunya bencana banjir.
Past flood incidences, added Khairuddin, enables Bomba to predict the severity of the flood while empowering the local community to become the first responders in managing disastrous situation as a result of the forecasted flash flood. These Bomba community volunteers are prevalent in areas that are usually hard to reach, such as Tinja, Marudi to even the Bako National Park. Aside from that, Bomba Sarawak will also be requesting for airborne assets, such as helicopters, to transport food supply to remote areas. A motorcyclist perished after he collided with a vehicle at the traffic light intersection of Jalan Kuching City Mall to Jalan Tan Sri Dato' Amar Wee Boon Ping, Batu Kawah on Friday evening. In the 9 p.m. incident, the deceased was believed to be heading towards Jalan Penrisen when he ran into a vehicle making a right turn to Taman Desawira. According to police reports, the deceased was identified as 41-year-old Chung Shan Tan, hailing from Jalan Batu Kitang. He was pronounced dead at the scene by medical personnel and was later brought to the Sarawak General Hospital for further action. Meanwhile, the driver of the other vehicle escaped the incident unharmed. The case is now being investigated under Section 41(1) of the Road Transport Act 1987. Meanwhile, in a similar incident in Bintulu, a 42-year-old motorcyclist was killed after he was dragged by a lorry at kilometer 22 of Jalan Bintulu Tatau on Friday. According to Bintulu District Police Chief Superintendent Barthomolo Umpit, early investigation found that the lorry carrying poultry products was heading towards Bintulu from Cebu when it crashed onto the motorcyclist coming from the opposite direction. Due to the strong impact, the motorcycle and the rider were dragged underneath the lorry. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene, while the lorry driver escaped unscathed. Coming up right after the break, Palestine boy dies of heart failure due to harassment by Israelis, and Malaysia air safety ratings restored to Category 1. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. This is TVS Nightline. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob today said UMNO's proposal to dissolve Parliament soon is a collective decision made by the party's Supreme Council. While declining to elaborate on the specific dates, the UMNO Vice President did not rule out the possibility of GE15 being held this year.
On Friday, UMNO Secretary-General Dato' Seri Ahmad Maslan issued a statement after the party's Supreme Council meeting that Parliament should be dissolved as soon as possible to pave way for the 15th general election, adding that the decision was based on UMNO's position that the mandate should be returned to the Rakyat to elect a new government. Meanwhile, Ismail Sabri said calls for snap polls are nothing new. He added that he also did not set any conditions before agreeing to call for the 15th general election. As such, Ismail Sabri will present the proposed dissolution date to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong in accordance with Article 40, subsection 1 of the Federal Constitution.
Now, Malaysia's air safety rating in the United States has been reinstated to Category 1 by the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, 3 years after downgrading it to Category 2 in 2019. calling it a proud moment for Malaysian aviation. Transport Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Ka Siong said the reinstatement comes after all 33 issues raised by the FAA were resolved.
In November 2019, Malaysia was assigned Category 2 in its air safety rating under the ISA program by the FAA due to non-compliance with the International Civil Aviation Organization (ICAO) safety standards. The assessment found in the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia (CAAM) had 58 findings in total, 25 of which were able to be resolved, while 33 remained open, which led to the air safety ranking downgrade during that year. He said the issues picked up by the FAA in 2019 initially did not reoccur, and CAAM was able to resolve 29 out of the total issues from the second assessment by the FAA in December last year in the span of just 6 months.
The past 2 years have been a crucial period for CAAM as the whole organization was restructured while various efforts were carried out to strengthen its workforce documentation and developing comprehensive training policy for the inspectors.
According to Wee, a Category 1 air safety ratings means Malaysia's Civil Aviation Authority complies with ICAO safety standards. And Malaysia air carriers can establish service to the US and carry the code of US carriers. While a Category 2 rating means the country either lacks laws or regulations necessary to oversee air carriers in accordance with minimum international standards. With Malaysia regaining Category 1, we said the country will be able to chart more flights or open new flight routes to the US, further boosting economic and tourism opportunities for Malaysia.
Welcome back. Now on to some global updates. Hundreds of Palestinians attended a funeral procession for a Palestinian boy who died of heart failure after being chased by Israeli soldiers. 7-year-old Ryan Suleiman ran to his house during the chase and died on the spot where he was hiding from the troops.
My son was walking back from school with other pupils. The Israeli soldiers were in the area, but there were no clashes. They were chasing students until they reached my home. And when they reached my home, they wanted to detain Ryan's brothers, my 2 older sons. When Ryan heard about the detaining process, he went to another entrance of our home and was scared. And then I found him dead on the spot.
A relative of the boy, Fuad Sulaiman, said that Ryan was like any other child in this world.
He is like any other child in this world, but this occupation and the arrogant soldiers made him feel fearful and killed him in front of his parents.
Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki condemned the incident as an ugly crime by Israel. There were no stone throwing at the time, where Israeli officials claim in a written statement, where the troops were only searching for Palestinians suspected of throwing rocks at motorists. In Washington, Deputy State Department spokesperson Vedant Patel said the U.S. was heartbroken to learn of the death of an innocent Palestinian child.
Let the world be a witness to this crime. Ryan was a student and wanted to be like the other children in this world. He left his bag behind him. The World Bank announces an additional aid of $530 million to Ukraine to help cover for essentials such as social protection, education and health. The UK and Denmark have enabled a loan of $500 million and $30 million respectively to meet Ukraine's urgent needs caused by the conflict.
According to the World Bank Regional Vice President, Anna Jury said the destruction, damages, and dislocation in Ukraine continue to grow. She added that Ukraine has a long road ahead to recovery and reconstruction. The World Bank has mobilized nearly $13 billion in emergency financing for Ukraine, including pledges from donors and commitments. World Bank Regional Country Director for Eastern Europe, Arab Banerjee, warned that analysis shows the cost for Ukraine's reconstruction is enormous, an amount that is expected to grow as the conflict continues. Ukrainian government is currently focusing on immediate social needs, ensuring urgent recoveries are completed while preparing for long-term reconstruction.
Wrapping up the Nightline, Tesla CEO Elon Musk showcased his much-touted humanoid robot named Optimus at the car maker's AI Day event on Friday, calling it an extremely capable robot. Optimus will be produced in high volume and will be sold at under $20,000 or approximately 93,000 ringgit. Musk said a robot business will be more lucrative than its electric cars, as he hopes to expand beyond self-driving cars that have not yet become a reality.
A prototype of the robot walked on stage and waved to the seated audience.
Our goal is to make a useful humanoid robot as quickly as possible. And we've also designed it using the same discipline that we use in designing the car. You know, now there's still a lot of work to be done to refine Optimus and improve it, obviously, because
Musk said currently humanoid robots are missing a brain, saying they don't have the intelligence to navigate the world by themselves and are expensive. Musk announced Tesla's plans for humanoid robots at its AI Day in August last year and delayed this year's event from August to have its robot prototype working, with a plan to start production by next year. Tesla teased the unveiling of Optimus on social media with an image of metallic robotic hands making a heart shape. Initially, Optimus would perform boring or dangerous jobs, including moving parts around Tesla factories or attaching a bolt to a car with a wrench. Musk has said that in the future, robots could be used in homes, making dinners, mowing the lawn, and caring for the elderly, and even becoming a companion for humans.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally. Just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvstv.my or by following us on our social media platforms. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. Once again, I'm Muhammad Yusuf. Thank you for watching and good night.